everybody, Michaela Kate here again, and wanted to talk to you today about the topic of employee engagement. I know it's a crazy world out there still, kind of a little chaotic, and a lot of leaders, a lot of teams are asking in this crazy kind of hard hiring market, how do we keep our people when we bring new people in? How do we make sure they're engaged? There's a high team morale. So a few tips I want to give you to think about in terms of employee engagement and what it might look like on your team. The first thing to understand is that everybody wants to be part of a bigger story. Nobody wants to do the 9 to 5, clock in, clock out, and just the humdrum of the workday. They want to feel a part of a bigger story, like, their work has meaning and it matters. So one kind of practical tip that you can think about with that is to think about, when was the last time your team as a whole heard the company's vision for the next 1 to 3 years? Not just your core inner leadership team, but really the whole company as a whole. So maybe you need to get on a Zoom call, but really to be able to share and cast that wider vision for where the company's headed. Another key area with this that you might want to consider is to really evaluate where within each department are they really having good cross-department connections and communication. So you definitely don't want teams to feel like they're on an island or there's a lot of silos happening within the organization, but really think about those cross-department communications and what that could look like. Another thing to think about, another kind of tip I'd say to evaluate within your team is understanding that everybody really does want to feel known. They want to feel heard. They want to feel seen within a team, no matter how big or small. And so a practical with this to look at and evaluate is, how regularly do you have your leaders give formal and informal coaching and performance reviews? You really want to steer away from the once a year performance review where you kind of tick the box and it doesn't feel like you're in it for their growth, their improvement, and tapping into their potential. You want to look for ways that you can engage them, especially the millennial generation is looking for ways that they can grow, that they can advance, that they can improve. And so you want to look for those opportunities within the team. Another tip that you want to think about is understanding that everybody really does want to feel like their job has purpose and meaning, obviously. No matter how low on the totem pole or, wherever people might fall, they want to feel like their job has purpose and meaning. But a big part that kind of goes with that is to be a good and kind of best that you can aware leader that really assesses stress within your organization, both personally and professionally among your team. Are you giving your team too much of a workload? Are they feeling like, they're having to work nights, they're having to work weekends? So especially with the holidays coming up, kids are kind of back in school, yes and no, depending on what's going on there. And so it can still feel like a lot of stress. And so you really want to be conscious of a healthy work-life balance and what that looks like among your team. Another key factor that I'll kind of round this out with is remembering, how are you doing as a leader? Sometimes as leaders, we can get so focused on what's going on with our team and making sure they have everything they need. But really, you want to be leading by example, of course, and, discerning how is your work-life balance? How are you doing spiritually, relationally, physically, mentally? And really take note of you, because so often, how the leader goes is how the team goes. And more than not, no matter if you're even saying the right things, people are going to follow what you do. And so something to be highly aware of and to be checking in. So just a few tips to think about with employee engagement, what that might look like on your team, and ways to potentially adjust or pivot kind of moving forward, and how you might re-engage or kind of beef up the communication in the weeks ahead. So hopefully helpful, but again, send me your feedback, your tips, your questions, and until next time, we will talk to you soon.